Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So a couple of you reached out to me about this facial recognition software story that had kind of blown up lately. Well, I want to show you another story out of The Hedge. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I love The Hedge. So this article says, you'd better watch out. Their surveillance state is making a list and you're on it. The little Christmas reference there. So this article goes on to detail a multitude of ways that the government is tracking you. And I feel like with the Twitter files coming to light, and if you guys aren't following the Twitter files, I highly encourage you to check it out. It is absolutely stunning the extent to which the FBI in particular joined with Twitter, paying them $3.5 million for their surveillance and oppression techniques. Those files are great. Please do check those out. So I thought we would run through a couple of the highlighted ways that the government is spying on you in this article. I'll give you a couple references where we can see throughout time and how it's sort of evolved and gotten to here. So if we take a look at the first piece that the article highlights, tracking you based on your cell phone and movements. Some of these are going to be obvious. Some of these aren't. Some of these are new. Maybe you've heard of them. Maybe you haven't. So this one goes on to describe the FBI was able to use geo-reference data to identify more than 5,000 mobile devices and their owners in a 4-acre area around the Capitol on January 6th. So if we go back and look, 2014, I don't know if you guys remember. I remember when this was a huge story breaking out, the Stingray devices that the FBI were using. So they were basically fake cell phone towers. So they would stand them up and conduct man-in-the-middle attacks where they would grab your data in the middle where you had it from both sides. So you sending it to the server, they would place this in the middle via the fake tower, grab the data, and they were able to look at it and see what was in there. True violation of privacy. That's one example where your cell phone's being used. They're also using that to ping the location so they can track you based on your cell phone movements. The next one, tracking you based on DNA. Now, we've all heard the stories about Ancestry where they've solved serial killer murders because they found a relative. So the nephew or the cousin or the brother or whatever submitted an Ancestry DNA test, and there was a close enough match that the police found that and went down and investigated, and that's how they found the serial killers. That's great, and I appreciate the closure for the family. I just don't think that the government should have access to everybody's DNA that has voluntarily submitted this over here, just so they can figure out who their great-great-great-great-grandfather was and what country they came from. I think this is a total violation of privacy. But here's another one where they now have your DNA. Not to mention whatever this latest round of virus testing was. So, DNA. Tracking you based on your face. Now, this is the big one that clicked everybody off. This Clearview AI. This has been around for a long time. This company really takes it to another level. They basically sick their AI algorithm out into this social media platform. They harvest your photo without your permission. They're just pulling it off the internet, identifying you based on Facebook and some other, whatever social media platforms you want to be. Me, I'm 100% in this database that this company has. They then use it, which is used by law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and Department of Homeland Security. They access this database, track wherever you are using public cameras. Awesome, especially in mega cities. This is a huge one. This one's blowing up. The problem with this type of technology, in my opinion, is that it's evolving faster than there are laws. Like I have to think that even these lawmakers, especially with as much crony nonsense as they get into, how much dirt are these lawmakers creating on each other using this type of technology? I mean, I can't imagine the take you up to the mountain type of activity that is going on with this stuff. If you guys aren't familiar with take you to the mountain, so I suspect this is what happened to Joe Manchin. He was like, I'm going to oppose this bill. I'm going to stand on it or whatever. Schumer pulls him aside and he's like, look, we've got this video of you diddling this kid or playing with yourself or going to here or whatever, whatever violation you've got running around. Schumer shows it to Manchin, and I don't know. This is all speculation. Hey, if you don't play ball, we're going to go ahead and show this to the world and expose you. And they back you into a corner. I have to think this is happening in Congress all of the time. And this facial recognition just makes this stuff easier and easier. Tracking you based on your behavior. So this one to me was really surprising. This was a new one that I just learned about. So this behavioral surveillance So, behavioral biometric analyzes a user's digital, physical, and cognitive behavior to distinguish between cybercriminal activity and legitimate customers. Now, they're trying to say that this is based for fraud and trying to prevent, theft. Really, this one gets really crazy. So, they track the way you walk. So, they have that they have your facial recognition, the way that you walk, mannerisms that you physically enact in. And then it also goes one step further to track how you do digitally online. So it'll track whether, let's say, you hunt and peck with your keyboard and you enter keys one at a time, or you copy and paste. So they say copy and paste is typically a way that a scammer will put stuff in. So that's their guise and their ruse around it. But they build this pattern of behavior that you do both physically and digitally, and they track you based on that. So they have a reasonable suspicion that it's you based on cell phone location or whatnot. And then the behavioral pattern, they make the assumption that it is you. And congratulations, you're guilty. This one's absolutely frightening. Naturally, tracking you based on your spending and consumer activities. We have to think that the $600 IRS bill is part of this. It just gives them another data point that continues to dive further, deeper and deeper down. I wouldn't be surprised to see the IRS getting in on this surveillance game. We'll see another agency that's outside of your normal three-letter agencies that's participating in this. Tracking you on spending, naturally, your public activities. The public corporations, in conjunction with police agencies throughout the country, have created a web of surveillance that encompasses all major cities. Twitter kind of falls into these next couple. And I say Twitter just because they've exposed what's going on. We all know what's going on. If you look at YouTube, the last video I put out on the new virus that's coming out in 2025, I danced around that one. I really struggled to try to present the way that the old coronavirus, scenario was played out before the virus rolled out, and then present the new one. And they still flagged it. Ads were not run on that. I got a notification on that video. And I tried to be as opaque as possible, but still give you guys information. And it just doesn't matter. Like, they've got it nailed down. I'm struggling to present to you guys a lot of this information. Still keep it. I don't do it for the money. I do it to try to help. The money helps me pay for a lot of the subscriptions and the other nonsense and, the equipment, the thing that lets me do this kind of stuff and those kind of things. I'm trying to get better for you guys. But yeah, struggle, and they're tracking all that. And, those Twitter files that I told you to go listen to those. It will explain how the FBI, they would target accounts down to, you might have 12 followers. One of the accounts that they highlighted had 12 followers. And it was like they were clearly making a sarcastic joke. The FBI was like, I don't care, shut it down. And Twitter had to go craft policy to figure out how there could be a violation when there wasn't. The same with Trump. They went through Trump's account, like, go listen to that. But basically the social media ones were the FBI, CIA, NSA, all of those guys. So that covers the next three. Tracking you based on your car. License plate tracking. It's no secret that every police car has a license plate reader on it. Every toll booth, every highway has cameras that read license plates. They know where you are based on your car. And then the last one, tracking you based on your mail. So they are definitely pulling correspondence of who's sending what to who and from where. And then it wasn't that long ago that we can all remember the U.S. Postal Service surveillance program acted illegally, according to the Inspector General probe. Why the post office needs to be scanning social media accounts and being involved in all of that is beyond me. I don't know why the post office needs to have this segment. It's just another example of government overreach. But there's a few ways that you're being tracked over and above the facial recognition, which I know really aggravated a bunch of you guys who reached out. When a bunch of you reach out and ask me to check into something, I usually tried to do it. I'm sorry, it took me a couple days to get to this. We had a bunch of other stuff we needed to talk about. But the government is tracking you heavily, and they are working with private corporations to do it. I don't trust no one. Everybody is out to get you at this point. Personal excellence is the only way you get out of this. Just be an absolutely superior human, financially, physically, spiritually, all of that. Get your house in order. The government's coming for you. Here's a multitude of ways. I will link the article down in the description. It's very informative if you're not up to speed on these types of things. Sorry for the doom and gloom. I'll catch you guys in the next one.